good morning everybody. We've been doing a lot of work to this avalanche. To be honest, I haven't had time to touch it since last Wednesday. Today's Tuesday, so it's been 6 days since I even touched it. Last Monday, I had a buddy, Glenn and Tucker, come over, and we did a lot of work to this thing. Honestly, they put me really far ahead, and it was kind of nice. I wanted to work on it last weekend, but instead, I was an adult and completely abandoned all my responsibilities and went and watched San Flamingo Demolition Derby down in Morris, New York, and was worth it. Some very cool classes down there. Zero prize money given to the drivers. I kind of find it. So last weekend was a crazy weekend. You had Demo, which was running Bristol with high payouts and even higher buy-ins, and I heard a lot of bad things about Demo. And then you had Morris, which had $0 to run, so it was free entry, and there was no prize money. All the money went to charity, and they had 554 cars, I believe, at Morris in 2 days. So two completely different ends of the spectrum, and I chose Morris, and I think it was a great choice. So we've done a lot of work to this. What have we done? So when Glenn and Tucker showed up, we took the body off the frame. I started plasma cutting out all the body mounts. They took out the 5.3 V8, and they put in my motor that I'm planning to run, which is a 4.3 V6. So they put that in there. We got all the motor mounts lined up. It was a little difficult getting the right motor mounts lined up for this. Then Steven made me a harness, and then we started plugging in the harness. What do we have to do today? Today, I would like to get the gas tank in the truck. I'd like to get the fuel lines. I would like to get the battery. I would like to get the wiring harness fully dialed in and set up. I'd like to get the fuel tank welded down to the floor and bolted down. It's a system you guys will see. And the biggest thing of today is, for the other avalanche, we built the rear end. So we welded all the gears and we got everything set up the way we wanted to, and I spent a little bit more time than I wanted to because I made it look really pretty. Now this truck didn't have a welded rear end, so I pulled the rear end out of the other chassis because it's gone to scrap, and we're going to throw it inside of this. So it's already got my tires on it, it's already got everything on it, we just got to put it in. So, it's quite a bit today. So I want rear end in today, and I want it running today. And then that way, with the rear end in, I can get all my measurements for my drive shaft. We can start building a drive shaft and go from there. So, don't have a whole lot of time today. I maybe have 2.5 hours. Think I can get it done? I think so. So, first things first, let's get this thing up on the hoist. It's kind of terrifying as well, so I can't seem to win on the non-rotted avalanche front. So saying that, we're just going to try to do our best and go from there. This rear end's very heavy. Okay, let's just get a bolt and hammer it in there. If you ain't using bolts to install your rear axles, holy crap. If you ain't hammering your bolts into your axles, you're doing it wrong. There we go. Thank you. Well guys, we got it all in there. I stopped recording because it was just me cursing and swearing a lot. So you guys know me, we have seatbelts to hold the sway bar links on. We got seatbelts to hold the springs in. I really would like to put the springs inside the upper mounts up here. They're not exactly in there yet, but we're gonna seatbelt around those as well just to try to help hold it together. and go from there. All the factory bolts are put back in, so that one there we actually couldn't get out, but this one's in. Oh, I'm moving too fast, it's blurry, I'm sorry guys. That one's in, so we got our welded rear diff inside of this. Now, we can get our measurements for our drive shaft. So the drive shaft's gonna go from the pumpkin to the transmission. You see that little hole way up there? Yep, that's where she's gotta go. The only thing that's kind of bothering me is I think I gotta cut half of this cross member out, just to get extra space for the drive shaft once it starts twisting. Now that right there is kind of like a structural point for this truck, so I don't really want to cut it, but we're gonna have to cut it. I think what happens is if we put like a piece of steel inside of here and bolt it, then we can cut out the rest of this and maybe get away with it and not... Maybe if I put the steel up to it and seatbelt it, I don't know. Try to get it past tech, I don't know. This is gonna be a tough call, that's for sure, but I do want to make space for that drive shaft. Well guys, I just made a pretty big noob mistake on this. And you're like, oh, what do you mean, Zach? What do you mean? Well, I threw the drive shaft for this truck out. No. So let me reword that. I threw the drive shaft for the 4.3 out because I wasn't thinking. I kept the drive shaft for the avalanche. Here is half the drive shaft from the avalanche because I was having such a hard time putting it inside my transmission. After about 40 minutes, I realized that this is not going to go into that. So, that's trash apparently. What I did find is I do have a drive shaft out of something. What's it out of? I have no idea. I've already shortened it once, so it's probably out of a Cadillac. It's probably out of that 1987 Cadillac I ran with a 307, but it goes into the transmission. So I'm just going to slide it out. Oh, no, too far. Right there. And I'm going to get my measurements, and then I'm going to build this drive shaft into the drive shaft I need tonight at work. So, let's get our measurements. So what I want to do is basically come from the universal to that universal to get my measurements. We're going to go center to center. Okay, so the measurement we're looking for is about 70 inches. And that's from the U-joint on this side to the U-joint on that side. Now there's one more thing I want to check out. I want to see if this U-joint will go into this rear end. If not, then I gotta ditch this end and then cut this end and then use this end and that end. Why can't I just make this easy? So, I guess, let's cut this drive shaft, I guess, and then see if it goes in there. So we are looking for 71 inches. So let me get out my trusty notepad. There we go. 71 inches. See, I like this notepad. I always have it with me. And it just makes a job a lot easier. So now what we're going to do is slide this out of the drive shaft, out of the transmission, and see if it goes into that rear end. Because if it does not, then I got to bring this rear end to work and then swap everything around. Well, guess what? It works. Everything goes together the way it should. I do not have the top bolt in. I'm okay with that. So, that being said, we just have 71 inches of drive shaft to build. Well, guys, today we got a lot done on this avalanche, and I don't know if it's enough for a full video. I got pretty close to what I wanted to do today. I got the rear end swapped in. That was a very hard job for myself, by myself. It would have been nice with two people. We got the gas tank bracket bolted down to the floor. We're utilizing all the factory rear seat mounts, so it's kind of tied to the body as good as it can be. I could probably tie this to the cage, but honestly, this is in, this is done. If I run another avalanche, this just bolts right to the ground, so that's kind of nice. Oh, whew. I'm out of breath. I've been running in circles. So, inside of here,
We have the shifter bracket modified to the transmission. We just have it sitting there. We don't have the top half of the shifter set up. We will set that up at a later date. We got one hole cut in the hood for the headers. This is what happens. I start a job, I get distracted, and I don't finish the job. So we have one hole cut in the hood for the headers. We have the radiator plumbed in, so that's nice. I tried to put an electric fan on it, but apparently this avalanche radiator is different than the avalanche radiator that the fan came out of. We're gonna have to figure something out there. We got most of the motor plugged in. We still need to hook up the throttle cable and all that fun stuff, so that's still to come. Let's get this thing up so we can see what we've done on the bottom. So underneath here, what we did is we just took the factory bracket, we cut it, moved it to where I wanted to, weld it, drilled out the factory arm, and then we put this on there. I will have to fine tune this to get all the gears that I need. That is for sure. I'm aware of that, but it's on there. What else have we done? We did the rear end back here. We're missing a bump stop. Not because I wanted to, it's because it rotted off. Good Canadian clean car underneath here, guys. We have the rear springs seat belted in, so that's kind of nice. And we got the rear end in. We got all the bolts put in. Super clean Canadian frame, guys, here. Do not underestimate our Canadian winters. They'll get you all the times. So, I don't know. I got a lot of comments saying, like, we just tuning in this channel to listen to me talk, and honestly, guys, I talk a lot, and I'm aware of that. But I also try to build stuff while I talk, but this avalanche is going much better than the last one. And what I mean by that is the frame hasn't broken in half and the body's still attached to the frame. So this is not a clean avalanche. By any means, this is not a clean avalanche. And there's still a lot of work to be done. We're going to be bringing the drive shaft to my work. I'm going to be openly honest. I'm going to bring it to work and modify it to 71 inches while I'm at work from U-joint to U-joint. So we got all the measurements for that. I have to pack the drive shaft for work. I'd like to do a cleanup here on my floor because I'm starting to trip over quite a bit of things and it's starting to bother me, but not much I can do. And then we're going to go from there, but there's still lots to be done on this, like something as simple as plugging in the transmission. Steven calls them Pringles, but they don't taste like Pringles for some strange reason. This truck is very rusty, very rusty. Like, I'm going to give this truck like a 3 out of 10, but my last one I gave a 1 out of 10. So this is 2 steps above the last one. So the last avalanche completely defeated me, and honestly, without Glenn and Tucker last week, this truck would not be nearly as far as I am right now. So tomorrow, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to get the transmission lines looped tomorrow. I'm hoping to get the transmission plugged in. I'm hoping to get all of the electrical hooked up to the engine. I'm hoping to have my battery in this, and I'm hoping that I can start this thing tomorrow, which would be really nice. So I should bring a gas can to work, so then that way I can buy premium gas for this. My Tacoma gets like old gas out of all these crappy cars I buy and out of the Derby tanks before I put them away for the winter. My Derby vehicles, premium fuel. Nothing but the best for these hunks of junk. So, saying that, thank you guys very much for watching. I did I think it was 3 hours I had today working on this, and now I got to drive an hour and a half to go do an 8-hour night shift. So it never ends, boys and girls. If you think that you finally finished everything that you ever needed to do, look around, you'll find something else to do. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you back here tomorrow in Zach's workshop. And still a lot of work to be done to this, but it's at least a rolling chassis now. I'd like to put a little bit more time into the front end. We do have to get all the brakes working, so we still have to run all new brake lines of this thing. So that's probably just a day of running brake lines. So I'm not looking forward to that. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you back here later on Zach's workshop. Well, guys, today actually